Hey everyone, welcome back to Jackson English Stories. I'm Jackson, and today we're talking about something we've all experienced, even if we don't want to admit it.
And I'm Anna. Hi there. I'm so glad you're here because today's story is one of those uh-oh moments that's just too real.
Have you ever bumped into someone you definitely met before? Maybe at a party or a work conference or even your kid's school event. You remember their face. You remember the conversation. But there's just one tiny problem.
You have no idea what their name is.
Exactly. Your brain goes blank. And in that one awkward second, you're frozen. Do you smile? Do you fake it? Do you run?
Or do what most people do and say, "Hey, you," with way too much fake enthusiasm. Soft laugh. Yeah, we've all been there.
Let's set the scene. You're walking down the street, coffee in one hand, phone in the other, and suddenly, a familiar voice. Hey, Jackson, fancy seeing you here.
It's the woman from that investment summit last week. You had a great chat. She even gave you her card. She's smiling. Clearly remembers you. And you? Well,
Let's just say Anna has completely slipped your mind. But you've got 3 seconds to respond before it gets weird.
so what do? Smile and bluff? Admit the truth? Pretend you're late and run away like you're in an action movie?
Today on Jackson English Stories, we're diving into that exact moment. But not just to help you survive it. We're going to help you own it. With real phrases, real confidence, and just a little bit of charm.
You'll learn how to say, "I forgot your name," without sounding rude. How to leave a conversation politely when you're in a hurry. And how to build real human connection, even when you forget the little things.
And trust me, forgetting someone's name doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you human. So, let's jump into our story and see what happens when I run into someone I should remember. Okay, picture this. You're at a small networking event. It's casual, nothing fancy. You've got a drink in hand, music in the background, and you're finally feeling relaxed.
Then suddenly, someone waves at you across the room. Big smile. Walking toward you with that, "Hey, long time no see," energy.
And in that split second, you smile back. Because yes, they do look familiar. But your brain? Complete. Total. Blank.
Not just blank, like white screen of death blank. Not even the first letter. Not even a guess. It's like your memory just packed up and left the building.
You ever wonder why that happens? I used to think it was just me, but turns out there's science behind it.
Your brain doesn't store names the same way it stores facts or stories. Names are arbitrary, no meaning, no context, no emotional anchor. Unless you do something to attach that name to a memory, it slips, just like that.
And the more pressure you feel to remember, the harder it gets. Your brain panics, your stress level rises, and boom, you forget even more. That's called retrieval failure, by the way. Fancy term, simple truth. The harder you try, the more your brain says, nope.
And that awkward moment, it happens to everyone. Doctors, CEOs, teachers, students, even memory champions.
One time I forgot the name of my neighbor. We'd lived across the hall for 4 years. I saw him at the mailbox and said, "Hey, man." He looked at me like, "Really?" So yeah, I feel your pain.
You're not alone, and you're not broken. Forgetting names isn't a flaw, it's just. But here's the good news. There are ways to deal with it, gracefully, honestly, and with confidence.
That's what we're gonna talk about next. Real English phrases you can use when your brain draws a blank, without sounding rude or fake.
So stick around, because in just a minute, we'll show you exactly what to say when the name is gone. But the smile is still there.
All right, new scene. You're standing in front of someone. They're smiling, waiting for you to say something. You know you've met them before, but their name? In your brain. You have exactly 3 seconds to say something, anything, before it gets awkward.
And let's be real, most English learners start sweating because in school, no one taught you what to say when your brain freezes. But here's a little secret.
Even native speakers forget names all the time. And we don't panic. We just say something like,
Hey, I'm so sorry. Your name just slipped my mind. Or, this is really embarrassing, but could you remind me of your name?
it's honest, it's polite. And guess what? People respect it more than pretending.
You don't have to say it like a robot. You can make it personal, like, I remember our conversation so well, but your name just isn't coming to me. Help me out?
One time I told someone, "I'm great with faces, but terrible with names. Mind reminding me?" They laughed and said, "Me too." And just like that, we were both human again.
Because that's the thing. When you admit it with warmth, people feel safe around you. It's not about perfect English. It's about connection.
Let me drop one more tip. Use humor if it feels right. Something like, "Okay, don't hate me, but your name has done a ninja vanish on me." What was it again?
That always gets a laugh, and it breaks the tension, because people forget, people forgive. It's how you handle the moment that makes the difference.
So don't panic. Don't pretend. Just pause, smile, and be real. A forgotten name doesn't ruin a connection. But faking it, that's when things get weird.
Coming up next, let's look at the exact words native speakers use when they forget more than just a name. Because sometimes your brain doesn't just slip, it totally falls.
All right, let's change the scene. You're talking to your coworker. Everything's going fine. Then they say, "So, did you send that file I asked for yesterday?"
And your stomach drops because you completely forgot. Not because you're lazy, not because you don't care. It just slipped your mind.
That phrase right there, "slipped my mind," is what native speakers use all the time when they forget something small but important. It's soft, it's honest, and it works.
Instead of panicking, you just say, "Oh no, I'm so sorry. It totally slipped my mind. I'll send it right now." Boom, clear, polite, and real.
Want 2 more phrases you can use? Here we go.
Number 1. It escaped me. This sounds a little more formal but still friendly, like, the date escaped me. I thought the meeting was tomorrow.
And number 2, I drew a blank. That one's a bit more casual. Like when someone asks, "What's the name of that restaurant we went to last week?" And you say, "Ugh, I totally drew a blank."
Here's a fun fact. Your brain actually blanks out sometimes when it's overloaded. Scientists call it a retrieval failure. Your memory is there, but the path to it is blocked for a second.
It's like trying to open a drawer that's stuck. You know the thing is inside, but it just won't open.
So don't beat yourself up. Forgetting is part of being human. But knowing how to talk about forgetting, that's part of sounding natural in English.
And here's the best part. When you use phrases like, "It slipped my mind," instead of just saying, "sorry," you're actually showing emotional intelligence. You're taking responsibility and staying human.
Coming up next, we'll look at why we forget names so easily and how to stop it from happening again. Because let's face it, it's not just about forgetting. It's about remembering what matters.
Okay, new scene. You just finished a really great conversation at a party. The person was funny, kind, maybe even a little too into cryptocurrency. You shake hands, say goodbye, and 5 minutes later, poof, their name is gone.
Like completely gone. And you're sitting there thinking, how? We just talked, we laughed, we even talked about dogs. But the name vanished like a Snapchat message.
Here's the thing no one tells you. Names are the hardest things to remember. Seriously. Your brain is wired to remember stories, emotions, faces, but not random sounds like Dan or Melissa.
Yeah, think about it. If someone tells you they're a teacher from Boston who loves surfing, you'll probably remember all of that. But their name, unless it's glued to something meaningful, just floats away.
This is called the baker-baker paradox. If I tell you someone's a baker, you'll remember. If I tell you their name is Mr. Baker, you'll forget. Even though the word is the same, one has meaning. The other is just a label.
So what do? We give names meaning.
One trick I use, repeat their name right after they say it. Like, "Hi, I'm Sophie." "Nice to meet you, Sophie." Simple, but powerful.
Another one, make a connection. Let's say you meet someone named Mike. Think of a Mike you already know, or a celebrity, or even imagine them holding a microphone. Anything weird that helps your brain hook that name to something.
I once met a woman named April, so I pictured her with a calendar on her forehead. Dumb? Yes. Did I remember her name 2 years later? Also yes.
Your brain loves patterns, visuals, emotions, so give it something to hold on to. And the best part, you don't need a perfect memory, just better habits.
That's the real lesson here. You don't need to be great at names. You just need to care enough to try.
Coming up next, we'll talk about what not to do when you forget someone's name. Because let's be honest, some people try to fake it, and it never ends well.
All right. Let's imagine another moment. You're at a work event. You see someone walking toward you. You've met them before. You should remember their name. But nope. It's gone.
And that's when panic mode kicks in. So what do? We fake it. You throw out a vague, "Hey, you," or worse, say the wrong name.
Oh man. I did that once. I called someone Rachel, and her name was Rebecca. She smiled, but her eyes said, "Really?" And the rest of the conversation? Totally awkward.
Yeah, pretending you remember when you don't is like dancing on thin ice. It might hold, but most of the time it cracks.
And you know what? Faking it makes it worse. Because if the other person catches it, and they usually do, you don't just look forgetful. You look insincere.
Let's talk about a few common mistakes learners make when this happens. First, using a nickname to avoid saying the name, like "Hey buddy," "Hey girl." Sounds friendly, but also kind of fake.
Second, hoping the other person says their name again. Spoiler alert, they probably won't. You'll just be stuck smiling and nodding for the next 5 minutes, and hoping someone else says their name.
Third mistake, avoiding eye contact or the conversation altogether. You see them and suddenly, your phone becomes very interesting.
Here's a better way. Just own it. Say it with kindness. Something like, "I'm really sorry. I know we've met, but I can't remember your name. Could you remind me?" It shows respect and humility.
And people appreciate honesty because they've been there too.
So don't fake it. Be real. It might feel uncomfortable for 2 seconds, but it builds trust that lasts a lot longer.
And next, we're going to teach you how to leave a conversation gracefully when you're in a rush, without sounding rude or awkward.
Okay, new moment, new awkward scene. You're in a conversation that's going fine, nothing wrong. But then you check the time and, uh-oh, you're late, really late.
You don't want to be rude, but you do need to go. And now you're stuck thinking, how do I end this without sounding like a jerk?
Here's the trick. Native speakers do this all the time, and we've got a few smooth ways to exit that still feel warm and respectful.
Phrase number 1. I'm so sorry, I'm in a bit of a hurry, but let's continue this later. It's polite, it's real, and it leaves the door open for more.
Number 2. This has been great. Would you mind if we picked this up another time? See what that does? It values the conversation while still giving you an out.
Want to make it even better? Add a reason, something like, I'd love to keep chatting, but I have to run to a meeting. It gives context, and people understand, because hey, we all get busy.
One time I was late for my dentist appointment, and I told the guy I was talking to, "Hey, I have to jet. My dentist is about to judge all my coffee sins." He laughed, gave me a fist bump, and said, "Go repent." True story.
The point is, you don't have to lie or disappear. Just be honest, be kind. Use a little humor if you feel it, and people will remember the grace you left with, not the fact that you had to go.
Because language isn't just about what you say, it's how you say it. And saying goodbye well, that's a superpower.
Coming up next, we'll show you how to exchange contact details like a native speaker, because sometimes the best way to keep a good connection is just to make sure you can reconnect.
All right, imagine this. You've had a great chat with someone, maybe at a coffee shop, a networking event, or just waiting in line at the airport. You're about to part ways and you think, I'd really like to stay in touch.
But now you're wondering, how do I ask for their contact info without sounding awkward? or pushy, or like I'm trying to sell them something.
Here's what native speakers do. We keep it light, casual, and open-ended. You don't say, "Can I have your number?" with that intense look in your eyes.
Yeah, please don't do that. Instead, try something like, "Hey, I'd love to stay in touch. Do you have a card?" Or, "Are you on LinkedIn?" Smooth, friendly, no pressure.
And if you want to offer your info, you can say, "Here, let me give you my contact details." That phrase, contact details, just means your name, number, email, maybe your Instagram if you're feeling modern.
One time, I actually wrote mine on a napkin. Classy? No. Effective? Absolutely. He still had that napkin a year later.
I like using this line. I don't want to take your time now, but I'd love to continue this conversation sometime. Then I hand them my card. It's simple, respectful, and shows genuine interest.
And here's a bonus tip. Say their name again when you hand over your info. Like, "Anna, it was really great talking to you." It helps you remember it, and it helps them feel seen.
Because in the end, that's what connection is about. Making the other person feel valued. And exchanging contact details. That's not just a formality. It's the bridge between a nice chat and something more.
Next up, we'll talk about how to own your flaws, like when you're bad with names, or directions, or remembering your Netflix password. Because being terrible at something, that doesn't make you less. Sometimes it makes you more relatable.
Okay, picture this. You're at a company party. Someone walks up to you and says, "Hi, Jackson, so good to see you again." And in your head, you're like, "Great. Who are you?"
You smile, you nod, you stall, and then you blurt out, "So, how have things been?" Because when you forget their name, things becomes your emergency backup word.
Look, we've all done it. I'm terrible with names. Like, I can remember what someone ordered for lunch 2 years ago, but not what they're called. It used to stress me out.
Until you realized owning it is actually better than hiding it.
Exactly. Now when I meet someone again and I'm blanking, I just say, "I'm so sorry, my brain is awful with names. Can you remind me?" And 9 times out of 10, they smile and they say, "Oh, don't worry, I'm the same way."
See? Being honest about your weak spots can actually build connection because it makes you human, relatable, real.
It's like saying, "Hey, I forget names, but I don't forget you." And that little shift, it changes everything.
There's even research behind this. When we admit small flaws, people actually trust us more, not less. It's called the pratfall effect. Messing up slightly can make you more likable, as long as you're still competent overall.
So instead of hiding it, try something like, "I'm terrible with names but great with faces." Or even, "Names are my weakness, but I remember you made me laugh last time we met."
Suddenly, you're not that person who forgot. You're that person who made someone feel seen, even through the slip.
Coming up next, we'll show you how to practice these real-life moments. Because confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being prepared. All right, So now you've got the phrases. You know what to say when you forget a name. You know how to leave a conversation politely. You even know how to turn your weakness into something honest and human.
But here's the big question. How do you actually get comfortable doing it in real life? Because let's be honest, knowing the words is one thing. Saying them out loud with real people, that's a whole different game.
Totally. And here's the truth. Confidence doesn't just appear, it grows. And like anything else, it grows with practice.
So how do you practice forgetting names? Easy. Start small. Next time you're watching a show or scrolling through social media, say people's names out loud. Use them in a sentence. Hi, I'm Anna. Nice to meet you, Anna. It trains your brain to connect names with words, not just faces.
Another one I love. When you meet someone new, write their name down afterward. It sounds silly, but writing helps you remember. Bonus points if you write down something small about them, like Josh, graphic designer, loves spicy food. Boom. Locked in.
And for those awkward moments you want to rehearse, try this. Stand in front of a mirror and say, I'm so sorry, your name just slipped my mind. Could you remind me? Or, I'm terrible with names, but I remember your story. Say it 5 times. Say it with a smile. Make it yours.
Because when that moment shows up, and it will, you'll be ready. Not perfect, just ready. And that's more than enough.
One more thing. If you're in a new place like a class or a group activity, make it a game. Try to remember 2 new names each time, not 10, just 2. Build the muscle slowly.
And here's the lesson. You don't practice to be perfect. You practice so that when life throws the real moment at you, your brain doesn't freeze. It flows.
Coming up next, we're wrapping it all together because forgetting a name isn't the end of the story. Sometimes it's just the beginning of a real connection.
So let's go back to the beginning. That moment when someone walks up to you with a smile, says your name like an old friend, and your mind, totally blank.
It's scary. It feels personal, like you've failed. Like forgetting a name means you didn't care enough.
But here's the truth. Your memory might fail sometimes, but your words, your tone, your honesty, your presence, those stay.
People won't remember whether you said their name perfectly, but they'll remember how you made them feel.
One time I told a woman at a conference, I'm so sorry. I remember your ideas, your story, and your energy, but your name has slipped my mind. She laughed and said, well, that was the nicest way anyone's ever forgotten me.
See, you don't need a flawless memory. You need a kind voice, a little courage, and the willingness to try again.
Language is not about being perfect. It's about showing up, being present, and building real connection, one honest sentence at a time.
So the next time you forget a name, don't panic, don't fake it, and definitely don't run away.
Smile, breathe, be real.
Because your words matter more than your memory.
Thanks for spending this time with us. We hope this story didn't just teach you English. We hope it reminded you that learning to speak is also learning to connect.
And if this helped you, even just a little, let us know. drop a comment below. Have you ever forgotten someone's name? How did you handle it?
And don't forget to subscribe to Jackson English Stories. Because in the next video, we're going to dive into another real-life scenario. And trust me, you won't want to miss it.